First question for Doc. We're going to start with Kristen on the side on the left.
Dave, first, just how is Freddie doing? I know he's not in the lineup, but just do you have any updates on him today?
In good spirits. He's obviously ailing, and he's doing everything he can to stay on the field. With the back-to-back games and one tomorrow, just trying to make a decision on what puts him in the best position for the games going forward. And just tonight seemed easy. Obviously, he wants to be in there, but I think having him not make this start, run out there on and off the field, but be ready for a big spot tonight made a lot of sense.
And then with Gavin Lux, I know he's been dealing with a little bit of that hip flexor here and there, but was today's decision mostly off just facing a lefty on the mound, or did it have anything to do?
I think it was combo. He's had some starts versus left-handed pitching. Quintana's been really tough on lefties, putting them on the ground, the strikeout rates and stuff like that. So that's one part of it. Also, with the leg, just kind of trying to give him an extra day to recover, but also have him available if need be late.
Okay, stay on the left there, Jack.
Did you guys decide with Freddie like earlier today or even last night that he wouldn't play, or was it after he got here and started going through stuff?
I reached out last night. I gave him a call last night just so he could kind of, if we decided to give him today, I wanted him to take full advantage of not, when he put his head on the pillow, that no, he wasn't going to be in there tomorrow. Yeah.
Did it look like he was laboring a little bit more at the end of last night's game?
It did.
Yeah.
It did. And it's quite a jaunt from the first base dugout to first base here. But so, no, I saw it, and it's the right decision.
Okay, over here on the right, Pete, first row.
Hi, Dave. You mentioned last night with his home run, it was important for Shohei to build some confidence. Just how would you sum up or assess his first postseason so far?
I think he's performing well. I think I'm excited for him. I think the moment isn't too big. I think that you've seen other superstars in years past, their first postseason, you can see them trying too hard. I don't see that with Shohei, but I will say that homer last night I thought was really good to see, I think, for him.
And just how would you kind of describe, I know we've asked you a bit about the disparity between him hitting with men on base versus otherwise. Do you think there's anything you analyze with that? Or
I don't. I do think that there's I don't think there's a hitter that will say that when runners are in scoring position that they're not more focused. So I think that is a part of it. Yeah, I still like him in any spot, but yeah, I think there's a little bit of a focus part of it, but we still need him to get on base too.
Okay, going to go in the back to Andy.
Dave, just with Freddie, how did he respond to that phone call? I imagine that's not something he's heard a lot in his career, that he's not going to be playing the next day.
It wasn't, well, he asked me if he was being benched. That's one thing. So he doesn't offer up days off. We all know, I know how much he's going through to stay on the field. And so I think that he understood that it's for his best interest to kind of not start tonight's game. But he took it like a professional.
Okay, we're going to go over here to Barry in the front.
Doc, what's it been like? I was reading somewhere where it's taking 4.5 hours of preparation medically for him to prepare to even play. What's it been like to watch this and see what he's going through, the type of respect you have for a guy who won't let it go and wants to help the team?
I don't think my respect could be any more for Freddie. To be quite frank, there is a lot that goes to it, but I don't really care to know all the details. I just want to know if he's in there or not, knowing that he's in good hands with our training staff. But, what it takes for him to get ready for a ball game these days is a huge undertaking, yeah.
Okay, far left, front.
Dave, there seems to be just a clutch factor with this team from Shohei, 7 of 9, with runners on, from the pitching, 4 shutouts out of the last 5, to just being able to manufacture runs with the lineup changes. What would you attribute all of that to?
Great question. I think some of it is experience. Certainly not, with Shohei, I think that's a lot of it is obviously talent, wanting to be in that moment, talking about runners in scoring position. Everything is certainly more magnified in the postseason, but a big spot coming into an inning, making a big pitch as Walker made last night. I think that lends itself to experience. I really do. To be able to slow certain moments down, not make mistakes on the bases, convert outs when you need to make a play. Because like I said, momentum, as Walker's talked about, once it's a real thing. So once you start getting momentum, with something that you should have kind of taken care of, then things happen. So whether you get a big hit or taking a 3-2 pitch for a ball to then get a big walk or to get a big hit or, big play defensive, all that stuff matters. And I guess a lot of it is experience.
Okay, we're going to go to Ron in the first row here on the right.
By all the measures we're hearing, the people are getting up early in Japan to watch these games, and there's a lot of attention on the Dodgers. Do you get any feedback from that in the bubble you're in of the daily managing?
No. I am aware. I think one of our guys told me how many eyeballs are watching. That Game 5 our game versus Pods in Japan, which is kind of mind blowing. It's good for all of us. But I try not to put too much thought into stuff like that.
And do you think this pushing the Dodger brand in Japan could potentially help if Sasaki becomes available and you guys try to recruit him?
I hope so. Absolutely. Yeah. We're thinking alike now. Good for you.
We're going to go in the back there to Peter. Just Pete, wait for the mic. It's coming this way.
Dave, for a guy you got off waivers last year, what's Ryan Brazier done to be able to get into your confidence in games like this?
He's been great. Yeah, exactly. Claiming him off waivers is kind of like last year we had Chris Martin, and he did a lot of big leverage stuff for us. And Brazier, I like him, neutral guy. He's not afraid of big spots. I like the fact that he's pitched in Boston because it's a tough market to pitch in, to play in. So that the moment's not going to be too big for him, and I trust him. So it just speaks to the front office has done a great job. There's a lot of waiver pickups. Shoot, Honeywell, we picked up Honeywell, and Kaspiris was 3 years away from being in college, and obviously the trade deadline acquisitions that we had. Those 3 guys have played huge roles, in this year's team. So collective effort, all of us in this organization.
We're going to stay back there on the right, Jerry.
Hey, Dave, back here. Dave?
Oh, sorry.
Today is the 20th anniversary of your stolen base against the Yankees in the ALCS. Has that come up with anybody today or this week? And do you rely upon the lessons you learned in that LCS about how playoff momentum can shift so quickly one way or the other?
I did hear about it earlier. I didn't realize it. I found out later. It's time flies, as they say. Pulling from that experience, I just think that team we had wasn't going to be denied. And I think there's something to like figuring it out, finding a way to win, being relentless, a lot of tough players. And we're still really tight to this day, me and that 2004 team. And there's a lot of similarities. Not as many knuckleheads as we had back in the day, but still really good ball players.
I'm going to go back to Jack on the right.
You remember that team, Hazel?
Dave, just with some of the leverage guys you used last night, like how comfortable are you using, whether it's Trinan or Kopech, like 3 days in a row, if that's how these next couple of games play out?
Very comfortable. I think for me today, we're going to do everything we can to win tonight. We've got Yamamoto on the mound. I feel like we can go to any one of our guys and we're going to pull whatever levers we can to prevent runs.
Okay, we're going to go in the back by the blue pole. Shy.
Dave, what does today look like for Freddie? You mentioned wanting to optimize him for tomorrow, but is it a treatment day? Is it he's available when given all it takes for him to get on the field? Is he going through all that to be available for potentially an at-bat?
Yeah, I hope it's a late arrival to the ballpark. I hope he got here later than he typically does. It's a late start to get his body going to, call it from the 5th inning on, be ready in a spot. So I think that that's something, as a player, when you're preparing for a game, there's anxiety that goes into like that next day. And so hopefully that kind of anxiety has kind of been tempered and just he can kind of lock in, from the 5th inning and beyond in a spot.
Okay, straight back and back over there.
Dave, I know you're mindful about Yamamoto's workload. Do you have any mindset on that for today's?
You know what? Not really. I think that we've got a great floor foundation for Yoshinobu now. Pitching, I think, through 5 innings, 4 times, I think, something like that. So I really don't have any limitations relative to, I don't see him throwing 100 pitches tonight. But I feel that, if he's throwing the baseball well, I don't see any reason why he can't get into the 6th inning.
You're going to go Jay in the middle.
Max Muncy had a big game last night. What have you seen from him so far since coming back from his injury, and what has he meant to this lineup?
Well, he means a lot. It's a left-handed bat that can slug. He really controls the zone well. Obviously, with Freddie in his situation, to be able to kick him back over to first base adds the versatility part of the defense. Last night was a clinic in how you conduct at bats. I don't think he swung at a ball all last night, which is pretty remarkable. I thought that the hit in game 1 was really big for Max in the sense that it was a 2-out hit, and he showed the willingness to shorten up his swing, to drive in a run and not really try to go for an extra base hit because we didn't need one at that time. And case in point, last night I thought he did a good job pulling his hands in on a cutter to get a base hit to right field, then ultimately hits a homer. But it's just the presence because, when he's in the lineup, he's a threat, and that matters.
Okay, I'm going to take one more. Last one right here, Bill. Gonna come over here. Yeah.
Is it Flaherty tomorrow? And if not, what are the factors that will decide that?
I think it's kind of, that's our lean, but it's not in stone yet. I think tonight matters. I don't know, Bill, whether it's how the pen is being used in a win and a loss. There's things that we're kind of still talking through, so I just don't know that answer right now.
And you had a very good pitching staff during the year, but not 4 shutouts in 5 games good. What is the factors that have allowed them to take it to another level in the postseason?
I think with the postseason, there's off days. So I think that you have a chance to deploy guys you want more. It's more sense of urgency versus in the regular season where sometimes you got to kind of lose the battle to win the war type thing, and that's how I manage a lot over a course of 162. But to their credit, I think Will is doing a fantastic job just sharpening every part of it, whether it's catching the baseball, whether it's the right pitch at the right time, game calling with urgency. And to the pitcher's credit and Mark Pryor, they're just really locking in, and they're doing a fantastic job. So I think it's all a compilation of that.
Thanks, Doc.
All right, thanks, guys.